Hi, everyone. Thanks so much and welcome back. I want to ask you a hypothetical question. It's hypothetical for you, but somewhere, someone in this world is going through this exact scenario right now. And so the question is, what would you do? What would you really and truly do if someone you had invested a great deal of time, a great deal of love, care, concern? What would you do if you found out this person was just not who you thought they were? Like not even in a close ballpark. They had painted a picture of themselves and the reality was so far removed that it was literally an unrecognizable circumstance. So, it's a real question to ponder. I think that every relationship, I mean, let's get into it a little bit. Every relationship, if the relationship evolves long enough, you're going to have a moment. You're going to have a moment in time, and maybe you realize, or if you remember when this moment happens for you, where a person, they just fall off the pedestal. Because we tend to, early out of the gate, we can put people on these just, you know, high, idealized pedestals. Oh, they can walk on water. He can do no wrong. She's absolutely amazing. She's absolutely perfect. And then there's that moment. There's that phone call or there's that incident where it's like, you know what, this is not who I thought this person was. That's not what I'm talking about because in those moments, you just realize that they're human. You just realize that they don't walk on water. Maybe they can swim in the water, but they don't walk on the water. Okay. So that's totally separate because a lot of times we can have those moments and we're able to still go on in the relationship happily, successfully. I think that those moments are necessary to temper relationships too into reality. I'm talking about when someone is just like in a double life situation, just doing things, in the throes of things that you have no idea about because they're absolutely not presenting this to you as any part of their reality. So, like I said, this is happening for someone in the world right now. And what do you do about this? What do you do when it happens? And I guess that the struggle that this person was having is, they're promising me they're not going to do it again, that the love is there. It was a mistake. It should have never happened. And like I said, again, this is nothing like, someone had an ice cream cone and just decided to just kind of fling it across the room. No. Okay, that would be immature. That's something, okay, I'm seeing a different side. I'm talking about this is some full blown double life stuff scenario, like different apartment in a different area, like different friend, a circle of friends, different whole other relationship going on. So what would you do? And this is a dilemma for the individual. And my commentary, I don't know if it'll shock some of you or affirm some of you, but my feeling is if we're just real about it, which I hope we can be at this point in our evolution together on this channel, that every relationship is formed on its own unique foundation. Some relationships are formed on a foundation of trust, friendship. Other relationships are formed on convenience, sense of adventure, sometimes a combination of both or all. But every foundation, every relationship creates its own unique foundation. And my feeling is that if the foundation the relationship is built on is, let's say, made of flimsy or weaker material, if you will, the relationship in of itself, it will not stand. There will be something to come through and test the foundation of the relationship. such as if we're talking metaphorically, an earthquake is going to test the foundation of a building. Different things come in and they will challenge the core and foundation of who you are and the relationship that you formed. Now, that said, on top of the foundation, all relationships, whether we want to look at it this way or not, we do contracts all the time. For example, a marriage, it is a contract. You know, there's paper involved. Friendships, there are contracts, heart soul contracts. We may not write anything down, but the contract, if you will, is formed over time. And just because it's not on paper does not make it any less valid. People can play lots of little games with themselves, but believe me, contracts are formed all the time inside of relationship dynamics. What is acceptable? What is not acceptable? What can I expect from you? What can you expect from me? So when you find out that someone is not who and what they said they are, you formed a relationship. You formed a relationship, and that information, we're talking about a double life or aspects of themselves that are so far flung and so far away from who they presented themselves to be. My firm belief is the foundation and the contract itself is null and void. Is null and void. And people talk about, well, shouldn't they get a second chance? Are you saying people shouldn't get second chances? I believe in second chances. I could even go into a third chance. What I'm saying is this. In my opinion, there are some things, just like if you have an investment portfolio, the advisor is going to ask you, how risk averse are you? What kind of tolerance do you have? There are some folks, there are behaviors that fall in a high risk category. You are a high risk individual based on shenanigans, certain circumstances. So you really have to sit with yourself. I do believe in second chances. However, the second chance is not necessarily going to be with me. If you really learn something from it, that is something that the next individual would benefit from. And I've shared with you in previous videos that I had a very toxic relationship. This person didn't necessarily have a double life, but I just saw enough in his behavior where, in terms of my portfolio, my life portfolio, if you will, that I'm looking to invest in, it's too high of a risk. It's too high of a risk. So the second chance, I will reference my video, I forgive you and choose not to move on. Okay, I forgive you, but choose not to move on in a relationship. Your second chance would be with applying what you learned to someone else. Now, over the last decade, I have to tell you, I've worked with off the top of my head that I can think of, 7 folks, 7 to 8, who are in straight up, like, in the midst of a double life. We're talking about double residence, double children in some cases, double address, double stuffed Oreos, however you want to get with it. They've got 2 of everything going on. And I've often wondered, what would put a person in this situation? And without exception, they found their way to me because they're wigged out, they're stressed out at this point. And you wrap yourself and entangle yourself into these circumstances, and you really have to step back and ask the question, what is going on? What is going on inside of a person that would omit whole parts of their lives or add on to parts of their lives while they're very much in your life? And I really think it boils down to, just based on my work and some dialogue with these individuals, it really boils down to, fundamentally, sometimes it can be boredom, extremely poor judgment, but by and large, it really boils down to a lack of fear. Or it's fear. It's a lack of courage, the lack of courage to really deal in your life and deal in other people's lives authentically. I had this gentleman literally freaking out, hair is falling out. He's got two children over here in a marriage, a new child over here in a different state, traveling back and forth under the guise of I need to travel for my work, and just completely devastated and at a loss. What I There is no way to untangle myself. There's no way for me to untangle myself from this. And basically I just shared there is no way to untangle yourself from this without absolutely devastating one or both lives, likely both lives. But that's what I'm saying. It speaks to judgment. It speaks to character. It speaks to a whole lot. So the bottom line I'm saying is, I think, I don't necessarily go for total black and white explanations. I do respect the shades of gray, but things occur, behaviors that are disagreeable, up to egregious, up to outrageous. It can happen in degrees, and you just have to know for yourself, in your life portfolio, how risk averse are you? What are you willing to tolerate? I firmly believe that there are some things that can occur in life, in relationships, where we are absolutely entitled to call it a get out of jail free card, or exit stage left automatically. You've got to make the decisions for yourself in your life. But as always, I'm just here to give you my spin and take on things. I hope it's been valuable, and I'll see you next time.